Thank you very much, and very good evening to you all. It is a challenge for me, really. Three fairy speakers, lot of energy in them. I'm not going to talk about something, which is like a motivational subject, rather a challenging subject. Before getting into this, when there was an invitation from ET Infra, we were thinking on what is that I need to speak about this. This is going to be Nemetschek Group's launch program in a way. So, welcome Nemetschek Group to India, and we wish you all the very best. And I am from Indian Green Building Council. We have been working on promoting the green building concepts in the country. We are the one who brought the green building concepts, the sustainability from the building point of view in India way back in the year 2001 and 2002. We have been working on for almost the last 2 decades in this area. And we have gone significantly forward. More than about, say, 11,000 projects have achieved the green building certification. And if you look at in terms of the footprint, it is more than about, say, 11.3 billion square feet, which is supposed to be the second largest footprint in the world in terms of the green building footprint. That is a significant achievement from the country point of view. Very recently, it was announced by our President of India, Madam Draupadi Murmu. She said, yes, India has made this significant achievement from the green building point of view. A long way to go. Yes, sustainability has been taken as one of the topics as part of this conference as well. So we thought of sharing some of the areas where the things need to be addressed a lot and how Nemetschek Group can prepare themselves in terms of addressing these as well. I would say, sir, you are entering into this country in the right time, probably in the right area. Because as the previous speakers mentioned, the construction sector in India is growing a lot. And we are growing in such a way that, more than about 70% of the construction by 2050, whatever that could exist, is yet to be built. We are in the process of building this. In fact, we are not building only building by building, we are building city by city. So when we are building city by city, obviously there are a lot of challenges with respect to sustainability. Sustainability, I looked at the brochure. The brochure was talking about, one of the focus area as sustainable design and resilient infrastructure for tomorrow's challenges. When we say tomorrow's challenges, obviously the climate change is the major challenge. The climate change need to be addressed, and the building sector is obviously contributing significantly for the climate change. Because in one of the slides I saw, the emissions from the construction sector is close to about, say, the 40% of the global emissions. That is true in a way. The number may be varying here and there, anywhere between, say, 35 to 40%. But certainly, the emissions from the building sector in terms of the life cycle, if you look at, it is more than about, say, 35% of the global emissions. And this is going to contribute to the global warming. Obviously, the climate change related issues are quite significant. The world has also committed that we need to bring down the increase in temperature. Obviously, we need to bring down the temperature well within, say, 2 degrees Celsius. But at the same time, there are ambitious targets. As per the Paris Agreement, we are talking about limiting the temperature increase within about, say, 1.5 degrees Celsius. For limiting the 1.5 degrees Celsius, the kind of allowance that has been given by IPCC, if you look at, it is anywhere between, say, 250 to 300 billion tons of carbon emissions by 2030. Only that kind of allowance we have, so obviously there are a lot of challenges in terms of limiting the carbon emissions as well. Having said this, what is that building sector has to do? Obviously, the building sector has to bring down these emissions. When we look at from the building sector or the construction sector point of view, there are two components. One is with respect to the embodied carbon emissions. Another one is with respect to the operational carbon emission, which is going to be there for the next 50 years once the building, or 60 years throughout the lifetime of the building. So there could be a lot of focus in both the emissions point of view and how these kind of tools, whatever Nemetschek Group has been bringing in, is going to contribute to addressing the issues related to these emissions. Is it something which is straight away possible? Yeah, I don't think so. There is lot of effort that need to be put in. And from that point of view, I thought of raising some 4 or 5 questions and then look at how we can work together. Because this is not going to be an organization's effort. This is not going to be one set of people effort or this one country's effort. This need to be a combined effort globally. So I thought, okay, there could be few areas which need to be addressed together. The first and foremost area, if you look at in terms of awareness, the awareness. If you ask me about how much is the awareness amongst all stakeholders about the issues related to climate change and how the building sector is going to address this, obviously the awareness level is very, very low. From sustainability point of view, yes, there is some awareness, but from the resilience point of view, almost very, very limited. So what is that we can do together to create this awareness? Yes, there could be a lot of opportunity for us to work together because Nemetschek also is talking about the education, especially amongst the younger population in India. That is where from CII Green Business Center point of view also we need to focus on. And from CII, we have something called Green Education Program. Of course, our education program has been recognized by AICTE. Chairman, I spoke to you about the kind of work we are doing with the AICTE. We train the trainers. We have been working with the faculties, train them on the green education concepts, and then how this can be taken to the student level. So that the outcoming students, they will be to some extent aware of the sustainability related issues and then equipped to get recruited by the leading construction companies or the architectural firms in India, and then they can straight away work on the issues related to the sustainability. There could be a lot of opportunity related to creating the awareness because the awareness level is very, very low still. We need to admit that. The second aspect, the B, I would call it as business sense. Yes, implementing the sustainability issues at the building level, at the infrastructure level is certainly important. But I understand more than the technology, I understand more the developers as people. Why should they implement it? What is the sense it is making for them? Can it make economic sense for them? For an example, for me to bring down the embodied carbon in the building, obviously, I need to choose the low carbon products and materials. Why should I choose that? Will I be able to reduce my construction cost? If I have to implement a technology during the course of operation and maintenance, why should I do that? Will it be able to reduce my operating cost of the building? So the kind of business sense we need to bring in the whole process of implementing the sustainability aspects as part of the building sector or the infrastructure sector, that is going to be a major challenge. Or it is already a challenge in a way in the industry. So how are we going to address this together? The business sense, bringing in the economic sense to the whole lot of initiative we are doing. And the third aspect, what I thought of is, how are we going to control this? This is where the technology can play a significant role. The emissions need to be controlled. Unless you measure it, how will you be able to control it? So the measurement and control is going to be a major factor in terms of limiting the emissions from the building. There could be a lot of measures. We need to get into the benchmarking. We need to bring in the threshold limits, whether it is related to, let us say, the embodied carbon, or it is related to the operational carbon. We need to bring in the measures at every area and then work on. From IGBC point of view, yes, we have done a lot of work in this area. We have been working with the building stakeholders. Of course, close to about, say, 3,000 architects and engineers we have been very closely working with in terms of what kind of measures they can bring in during the design stage so that they can limit their embodied carbon. Globally, there are some measures have been taken up in terms of limiting the embodied carbon. For an example, in Europe, you are talking about, say, 700 kg per meter square in case of UK, that is also a kind of moving target. As of now, it has been looked at about, say, 700 kg per meter square, and by 2030, UK is looking at about, say, 650 kg per meter square. The same is the case with respect to Denmark also. Denmark is looking at about, say, 12 kg per meter square per year as an embodied carbon emission target. The similar kind of targets and control mechanism, can we do it in India as well? Can we bring in kind of a threshold limit with respect to operational carbon emissions in India as well, so that the buildings can become more and more efficient and more low carbon buildings? So that is something we have been working on. Yes, there could be a lot of opportunity for us to work together as well in this area. The fourth area is, of course, I was very glad to know that the CEO of Nemetschek Group went and met the Deputy Chief Minister of the local government and started talking about this. A lot of things need to be done at the policy level. The directives are very, very important. Right now, if you look at from the country point of view, the policies and regulations, they are not, in my opinion, humble opinion, they are not so enabling. They are not so enabling in terms of making the building as well as the infrastructure more sustainable. How are we going to work with this local government? Because all said and done in India, if you look at building is a state subject. The power is a state subject. So if I have to do something with respect to, let us say, the sustainability, I need to work with the central government. I also need to work with the 30 state governments in the country. The challenges are much more. So we need to bring in the enabling policy mechanisms. There are very, very forward-looking states which have implemented many of the incentive mechanisms for encouraging the green buildings. But it is only a one step. There is a long way to go with respect to these areas. How are we going to embrace the low carbon path with respect to infrastructure and building? A lot need to be done from the policy aspect as well. This is from the point of view of the directives. When I say A, B, C, D, the directives point. The last but not the least, friends, what is more important for an initiative like sustainability, an initiative like resilience to pick up, is a kind of ecosystem which drives. If you ask me, okay, do we have that kind of ecosystem in India? Yes, from CII point of view and the Indian Green Building Council point of view, we have developed this ecosystem to some extent. But this ecosystem is yet to mature in this country. When I say ecosystem, a developer wants to make his building as a net zero building. Has he got sufficient guidance? Has he got sufficient support from the service provider? Has he got sufficient support from the technology suppliers? Is there an enabling policy mechanism in the state? Or he has got support from the financial institutions to build a very sustainable net zero building? It is always a question mark. So if you ask me, the entire ecosystem is in the process of developing. It is yet to be developed, to be very frank. A lot more can be done in terms of the working, developing the whole ecosystem. So having said all these challenges, friends, in spite of that, India is certainly a growing market. And we are going at a much rapid pace. And this is also a very, very adaptive market. You all might have heard that, yes, it is a very cost-sensitive market, true to a large extent, but they are willing to invest if it makes business sense for them. So that is the reason when we started working on the sustainability and then promoting the green building concepts, we have somehow made these green concepts making business sense. And this business sense is the driving force for the entire industry to embrace the green concepts and then taking it forward. In the same note, I would like to conclude like this. The opportunities are much higher from the country point of view. And this is the right time you have got into this market. We would be happy to work with you and wish you all the very best. Thank you.